So, folks, long shot the dice game. This one is from Perplext team. It's currently a Kickstarter, so you can go check it out. I just want to briefly talk about this game. So this is a betting and horse racing game, but racing elements mechanic is not really here. The horses race themselves and you're betting on them here. But I would say eventually this is a roll and write game. And you're rolling dice and you're writing stuff down with the dry eraser markers, so you can wipe it all out and play it again. You don't need to have a bunch of paper sheets that are gonna be like one-time thing, disposable things. So I think this is a good thing about this one. There might be a few downsides if you accidentally swipe few of the numbers and marks with your hand. That can be an issue, but overall I think it's not a huge issue here. Now, everything evolves around those horses and these two dice. So let's take a look at how it evolves. So first of all, let's take a look at this board over here. As you can see, I would say this is a bunch of mini games out here. This is a little bit of a bingo game, and if you fulfill the whole column or row, you can choose one of the bonuses over here, which are extra money, extra horse movements, free bids, and free horse that you can buy as well. You can buy horses here. As you can see, all the actions are marked down here. Here you can put the bets on the horses, and these are the multipliers, so it depends if the horse comes first, second, or third, or at least crosses the red line. I'm talking about that in a moment. Then you can get some money back. You have your starting money, and then you have kind of like a scoring sheet here on the side where you mark down all the main things and see whoever has the most money will win the game. Now, as you can see, everything is marked through the numbers and colors, and that depends on the dice that you roll. So let's get to the main mechanism. So in turn, you take those dice, you roll them. This die shows what horse will move, and this die shows the speed of horse. So the horse number 2, and the name is Make It Rain. As you can see, every horse has its own cards. We're gonna talk about the cards in a moment. So Make It Rain will move 1 space forward, and that's it. And then how it's all connected is that now you can mark a number 2 anywhere on your board. Either you can make a bid on the number 2 horse by spending your money, or you can buy a cape, you can buy a shirt, or you can play a bingo right here, so you can fulfill this columns and rows so you can get the bonuses. Now, if you're not so keen on marking down number 2, or you cannot, you can always use one of those 3 spaces over here. These are wilds. So you can say that this number 2 is basically any color. So I want to mark a 7 instead of a 2. I'll mark down one of these X's over here, and then I can mark down a 7 somewhere. Now, there are only 3 spaces throughout the whole game. How you can get them back? If you skip your turn, you don't do any of the actions, if you don't mark anything on one of your turns, you can erase one of those X's right here, so you get your wild back. And this is a strategic play over here, because sometimes some of the turns are not extremely important for you to do, so you should get those X's back, because at some point those wilds might be crucial to your decisions. When you move the horse with the die, the card of this horse will also show what other horses move along with it. So right here, the X is only here. Later on in the game, through marking down the shirt symbols on your player board, you can mark down the symbols on that particular horse. Right here, the X's, that means with that horse, any other horse can also move. So right now it's only 5. So with 2, 5 moves as well. It can be crucial in some situations, because that could be a winning strike for the other horses, even though the die had determined what will happen right here. And as the game goes along, the horses will move further and further and further until they reach this red line over here. So this is the line. If the horse goes past this line, no bets can be put on this horse. So you should be careful about that. Now, as I said, there are some bonus spaces right over here. And with this spaces, for example, there is a -2 movement on horse, -3. You can move horses back as well. So you might get them back from this red line, but then they will be behind some other horses. So you should be careful about that. And you mostly want to do that to your opponent. So a little bit of take that in this game. Why you want to do that? As you can see here on the side, the horse that reaches the first place will get $35, the second place $25, and the third place $15. Now, you might ask, so are the horses, do you choose a horse at the start of the game? No, you don't. Each horse is represented by the card. I'm going to show you them in a moment. And that means that each horse can be owned by a player, but no player owns the horse at the beginning of the game. But when it's your turn, when you roll those dice, for example, you roll these and number 1 horse moves 2 spaces, so you can use this to mark down some things over here, but one of the actions as well is to buy a horse. And you can buy a horse that's rolled on the die. So I can buy horse number 1. Buying horses early can be advantageous if you will push it further and further through, marking that horse down on the bottom row of other horses, so it will move faster and faster and faster. But mostly this is all luck dependent. Maybe this will not be on this die anymore. If you roll, then it's horse number 3, roll it's a horse number 2. Okay, so now it's 1. It can be all luck based, but it's fun because you're anticipating that your horse will move, and you can buy multiple horses as well. And the cool part is, if your horses finish first, second, or third, you get extra money. That's why you want to buy those horses. But horses are quite expensive. You don't have enough money. You only have 12 money at the beginning of the game, and you can get some extra money, 3 times $7, through the bingo you play as well. So there are a lot of small different intricacies that you need to discover, you need to consider when you buy a horse. Plus, the horses have special abilities as well. Let's take a look at them. Here we have chain reaction. So when you complete a vertical column, mark any of the bingo spaces. This is for the bingo game over here. Or here, if the horse number 2 is rolled, you gain $2. If you own the horse, you have to buy it. Then here it's also with the bingo game. Instead, you may mark as if the die shows -1 or +1. So if you roll a horse die a 3, for example, on a bingo mini game, you can mark down a 2 or a 4 instead, which is really crucial at some points. Or your bet is free when placed on horses you have no bid on. So you will bid on the horses, you will increase the money you put into those horses eventually, but you will probably not bid on all of the horses, but you can make free bids on the horses you have not, you don't have bids on, so which is cool. Also, when you complete a horizontal row, the bingo game, you can move any horse -1, so you can move them backwards, which is crucial, for example, for the red line, or so the other opponent's horse will not win the game. So the miracle worker, when bought, mark any bingo game or a cape or a shirt. This can be crucial as well because each horse has a combination of a hat and a shirt. And if you have both marked down at the end of the game, you get extra $5 for each horse that has both a hat and a shirt. And they will also let you bid on the horses past the red line and make horses move other horses, which is extremely crucial as well here. So at scoring, gain $2 for each horse you have a bid on, move the horse shown on the die +1, like a nitro, As you can see, this is another set. So there are 2 sets of horse cards from 1 to 8. For example, this is also a bingo game. When you complete a consent roll, gain $2. When bought, add 3 $1 bid to all even or odd horses. Or a bid here. Instead, place a free bet with $1 on any horse. This is when you mark down a hat. You may place up to two $2 bids bets on the horse that is shown on the die. At scoring, gain additional money equal to your bets on unfinished horses past the red line here, for example. And here, instead, you may mark the shirt for a horse you have a bid on. So you don't have to choose the horse that's on the die that you rolled at the beginning. Or here you have a ticket, advance the die horse plus 3 spaces if it is last. So cheer up, Buttercup. So here, if it's last or tied for last, it can burst forward. So it can be a loser coming out as a winner eventually. Or here, also a bingo game here. When using a bonus to move a horse, you may move that horse 1 additional space. Really nice. And all of these horses have different costs there because some of these abilities are not extremely powerful, or some of these abilities are maybe more powerful, so the horse will be more expensive in this case. So the most important question, who is this game for? Now, as you can see, there are different random elements. For example, these dice over here. You roll the die. You never know what comes up, what speed comes up, 1, 2, or 3. You never know what horse comes up, 1 through 8, basically, yeah? So this is a betting game, a sheer luck, but it works. It works within that theme. Because when you bet on a horse in real life, you never know if it comes last or first or whatever. You take your chances. Here as well, you take your chances. But there are ways of mitigation. First of all, it's not about just what horse wins this race. And maybe this is your horse and then you get $35. But if I get the horse that places second, and also maybe I buy another horse that places third as well, then I get more money than your horse that is placed first in this game. And the game is about money, and you can get money through, for example, collecting the combination of a hat and a shirt. You can do the bingo and get extra money. It's 3 times $7. It's a lot of money. Also, you can do 3 bids, and bids give you a lot of money because this one is multiplier. For example, if the horse number 8 comes first and I place a bid of 3 over here, then I get 3 times 9. It's $27, which is a lot of money here. So, and you can increase those bids. So even, for example, even if you see that your horse is not winning, if the opponent's horse is winning, and they own that horse, they get $35, start placing the bids on their horses as well. Mitigate your luck because it's their kind of a responsibility. So their horse finishes first. They want it. So if you will start placing bids on the horses that your opponents have, then you are kind of evening out the luck over there. You are playing safe, let's say, as well. And the opponents will do the same with your horses, and you can move them backwards and forward. You can buy horses for the abilities as well. So there are different things going on in this game that make it not feel like a game of sheer luck, like a small card game or like a small Yahtzee game. You roll dice and see what happens. Yes, you roll dice and see what happens, but you can do all the various stuff, and it's short, it's fun, it has some intrigue. For example, I mean, like, the horse is almost on the finish line, and then you complete a roll or column on this bingo mini game, and then you pull that horse backwards 2 spaces, and then you've done the thing here that you can complete a row and a column at the same time, so you can choose 2 bonuses all at once, and you choose one horse to move backwards and then your horse to move forward, and then you maybe make it placed first. But the thing is, it doesn't mean that whoever gets a horse that is first past the finish line will win the game. That's what I want to say. You should go into this game with a, let's say, a lighter heart. You should go with this game into this game with a feeling that let's play this one, it's not so hard to explain, and then we're gonna go and play some kind of a strategy game. This can be a small supper, this can be a brunch, you know. This is not a whole evening game. This is not totally filler as well, I would say. And it can be crunchy sometimes. I mean, about the thinking here in this game, because there are a few moments where you're very uncertain what you should mark down, especially in the beginning or in the middle of the game, mostly, where you have to make some decisions. Should I mark down this bingo here so I can get the bonus here? But those bonuses, they're fine, but I'm not sure where or when should I use them. So maybe I make a bid on this horse, but then I lose money. I don't have enough money. So it can give you a lot of thinking as well. So I would definitely recommend to take a look at this game, to go into this game lighthearted and just enjoy the ride, if you can allow me to say that. So yeah, that's Long Shot, the dice game.